Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Bahrain Now, your local source of initiatives, happenings, talents, and trends. I'm your host, Khalid Hijris, here to walk you through our exciting lineup of guests and personalities from around the Kingdom of Bahrain. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. The National Space Science Agency, the NSSA, has successfully concluded a three-day workshop titled Utilizing Earth Observation Data for Applications in Agriculture, Climate and Environment, in cooperation with the British Embassy in the Kingdom of Bahrain and the British University of Leicester, which has prestigious scientific, technical and research expertise in the field of space. And to talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by the space data analyst at the NSSA, Engineer Aysha Al Jowder. Welcome, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, can you tell us about the idea behind this concept of the workshop?
Yes, so first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss some of the initiatives that we conduct at the NSSA. So this workshop is a part of one of our strategic goals to raise awareness and build capacities and promote partnerships in the field of space science. This workshop is the second part of the first workshop that we have conducted last year in collaboration, as you've mentioned, with the University of Leicester and the British Embassy of the Kingdom of Bahrain in order to introduce Earth observation concepts in the field of environment, agriculture and climate change. All of this is in order to assist our participants in how they can utilize Earth observation data in these fields, and the overall outcome of this workshop is to allow the participants to think about the challenges that they face in their own day-to-day work in these specific fields, and how through the knowledge that they have acquired in the workshop, present project proposals that can assist in solving them.
Wonderfully said. And for the layman among us, what were the topics that were highlighted during this workshop?
Okay, so some of the topics that were highlighted, they all fall under the Earth observation umbrella, and there are many numerous topics. Some of these include the different satellites that can capture Earth observation data. It includes the different types of Earth observation data and how these differences impact their utilization. There were also topics related to how to process raw data from Earth observation and turning them into information, which then can later be turned into high-value applications. Some applications were also demonstrated during the workshop. They include fire risk mapping, agricultural mapping, methane detection, and many more. The NSSA has also showcased in this workshop some of its key Earth observation projects that they have worked on in these fields, as well as in other fields such as urban planning and disaster management. We also have demonstrated in this workshop how these projects have propelled forward a lot of collaborative opportunities with governmental institutions and academic institutions in order to develop these projects further and ensure that they are tackling real environmental issues occurring in the kingdom.
Brilliant. And what can you tell us about the fruitful cooperation between the NSSA and the University of Leicester in hosting this vital event?
Yes, so the NSSA and the University of Leicester had a lot of areas of fruitful collaboration across these past couple of years. With the sponsorship and the support of the British Embassy of Bahrain, we have been able to conduct this workshop for the second time this year. And this occurrence of these workshops shows that there is a unified international goal in raising awareness on space data and how this space data is essential in tackling global sustainability issues and driving forward the needed decision making and taking the action needed to eradicate these issues. We also have another area of collaboration with the University of Leicester alongside the company Geospatial Insights to develop a CO2 carbon dioxide detection satellite payload. This project is under the United Kingdom Space Program, Bilateral Space Program. We were also among the 11 global projects that have won additional funding for this project. And this specific project focuses on innovating advanced space technologies to detect point source CO2 emissions. And all of this is one of the agency's efforts in targeting the national goal of net zero by 2060 as guided by His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Prime Minister and Crown Prince, and by providing necessary information to understand carbon sequestration efforts. So these are some of the examples where we have been collaborating with University of Leicester to promote space science on an international scale.
Well, wonderful goals. And now, can we move back to the workshop to talk a little bit about the vast participation? I mean, what was the feedback like?
So the productive participation we have been able to see this year is due to the participants that have come from very different backgrounds, from very different institutions, and even different stages in their professional careers. So overall, we had around 30 participants. The first set of these participants came from governmental institutions who work in the fields of agriculture, environment and climate change, and whom could benefit from the analysis of Earth observation data. We also had participants from the private sector, so more specifically small and medium enterprises, in order to advance technologies and introduce space science technologies in the private sector. And we also had individuals from the academic institutions. So we had academic researchers and even university students who have had a lot of, they've poured a lot of their academic knowledge in the activities of this workshop. So through this very diverse set of individuals, we have identified a lot of challenges that could be tackled through Earth observation data. We have also established a lot of new collaborations with different organizations that have attended the workshop. So we've seen a very evident interest in the utilization of Earth observation data in organizational projects. And through the interests and the interactions and discussions we've had, we've seen that there is a lot of opportunities for collaborative efforts in order to execute these projects.
Wonderful, and it's really great to see the holistic approach taken. Like you said, you have a lot of diversity, and there are so many different ways to apply these methods. Now, this is the second workshop that the agency has implemented since the beginning of 2024 for government agencies in cooperation with these specialized international institutions. What can you tell us about the first one, and how did the recently held workshop build on the previous one's outcomes?
Yes, so the first workshop had the same goal of raising awareness on the utilization of Earth observation data. However, in the first workshop, we targeted mostly governmental institutions. In the recent one, we've widened our audience. In the first one, we've also identified some challenges, and we have, within the groups and the participants in the workshop, we have developed project proposals to tackle these challenges. And within the time from the first workshop last year and the second workshop this year, our satellite imagery and data analysis laboratory has worked on developing the techniques and methodologies to actually implement these projects. So overall, we had 8 project proposals from last year, and 6 out of these 8 are currently in progress by our laboratory. The second workshop built upon the outcomes of the first one by including academic and private institutions. The second workshop also focused on either developing the previous project proposals to include further applications for them, or through identifying some new challenges and creating new project proposals to tackle these challenges. So overall, through the discussion exercise we had during the workshop, we have gathered around 40 project ideas. 7 out of these 40 were then selected, shortlisted to be fully fleshed out into full project proposals for their implementation. So through these workshops, which now have become an annual series of workshops, we aim to continue building upon these projects to ensure that they are being tackled, they are addressing current environmental issues, and to ensure collaborative efforts in executing them.
Brilliant, and it's really great to see that successive chain of consolidating what you've learned with the previous iterations of workshops as well. I mean, I think that's the best way, obviously, to get to get the maximum benefits from it. Now, among the outcomes of the workshop was a proposal for a number of projects that contribute to monitoring the progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which you've touched on earlier. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so all the 7 project proposals that we have developed with our participants this year, they all provide crucial information to monitor progress in the Sustainability Development Goals. An example of one of these project proposals is related to the assessment of coastal habitats in the Kingdom of Bahrain, more specifically mangroves, which are essential in combating climate change impacts and increasing the carbon sink in the region. So this touches upon the goal of climate action. We also have another project proposal that is related to assessing the water quality in these coastal habitats, which also is relevant to goals such as clean water and sanitation and life below water. So here we can see that the project proposals that are being introduced by our participants, they all act as very significant elements of monitoring progress in sustainability development goals.
And on that note, I mean, it's been said that, achieving the SDGs, like 40% of it basically can't be done without the direct use of space and its various technological applications. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, each of them have targets in order to assess the overall achievement of this goal. And within each target, there are specific indicators that gives us a quantifiable measurement of whether this target has been met or not. And as you've mentioned, a good proportion of these indicators rely on having data from Earth observation and remote sensing. An example of an indicator can fall under the goal of clean water and sanitation. There's an indicator that mentions that they require the proportion of water bodies with good water quality. And as I've just mentioned, one of the project proposals that our groups have worked on is assessing the water quality in coastal habitats. So we can evidently see here that there is an interrelation between space technologies, the global sustainability development goals, as well as the challenges that we are seeing being faced by our participants in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
What an illuminating answer. Thank you for that. And lastly, I'd just like to ask you, what can you tell us about the NSSA and its roles and contributions in this regard?
Yes, so the NSSA aims through these types of workshops is to gather the challenges that are occurring in the kingdom and see how through our resources, through the capabilities of space data and space technologies, how we can assist other organizations in tackling these challenges. Ultimately, this achieves the goal of raising awareness, building capacities and promoting partnerships in this field. We also try through these workshops and events to establish cooperations in order to effectively execute these projects and to tackle the environmental issues.
Wonderfully said. Thank you so much for joining us for this very illuminating talk. I feel like I've learned a lot, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have even more coming up on Bahrain Now. The Bahraini musician and filmmaker Mr. Abdullah Mahmood has taken a bold new step in his creative journey following the release of his short film Furjaan Al Bahrain. Moving beyond traditional music videos, he is now pairing each of his monthly songs with a short film offering audiences a more immersive storytelling experience. And to talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here at the studio by Mr. Abdullah himself. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
You know, it's a real pleasure to have you here. Now, let's start off by asking you, where did this passion for music and filmmaking start?
It's really a long story if you're here all day, يعني. But the theater thing started really early when I was at school. You know, I was like playing a lot of roles in drama classes and stuff like that. Never really tapped into that until now, you know. Music, يعني, from high school, I was very much interested with this Jimi Hendrix figure. He was cool, you know, and I was like, you know, I want to be this guy. I didn't know much why I wanted to be like him, but it was just so electrifying to see him do what he does on stage. And that kind of fueled the fire to where I am right now.
Brilliant. Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about like your current film, Furjaan Al Bahrain?
Yeah, it's it's a comedy, very light-hearted comedy. It's about a detective, a washed-up detective who's not solved a case in 13 years. He's so bad at his job, you know, he just wants to, you know, prove himself again and be the best detective in town. I don't want to spoil too much for people at home who's not watched it, but that's basically the story, you know. I don't know what else to tell you other than the fact that, like, you know, it was a fun film to do, you know, with my friends, and yeah, it was quite challenging also, first time to do it.
I mean, I took a look at it and I quite liked the way that you blended genres. Like, you know, that washed up kind of detective thing is a very common trope. But you managed to make it quite funky, and like especially with the music. So it was a really enjoyable watch, and I recommend to our viewers to give it a go as well, because it's really good. And again, this whole concept of blending together, it's not quite a musical, right? Like it's not really a musical, but you still managed to merge the two worlds in a way that they just fit together so seamlessly. Where did you come up with that idea?
Look, I can't take credit for something like that, you know. Michael Jackson said it best, you know. He was like, you know, he didn't like the idea of music videos. He always wanted to, he had a love for film, and I also have a love for film, you know. Not saying I'm an expert at it, but yani, I thought that, you know, I would create a film based on the music that I'd create, you know. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the music that I create, but it at least gives somebody like a storytelling value rather than just a music video that watches me dance for like 3 minutes, you know. Even though I'm a good dancer, you know, I don't want people to just watch me dance every single music video, you know. Something more value, you know.
I definitely agree with that. I'm someone who, I mean, I'm very picky with music videos, so it's like, I mean, if you have a story like that, I'm more likely to get invested. Now, with this specific, with Furjaan Al Bahrain, was there a specific genre you're trying to emulate there?
Well, you said it. I was those washed up detective TV shows, you know, I thought they were just so funny. Every single time I watch something like that on TV or something, there's like this reoccurring character archetype of all the cast members, you know what I mean? I tried to emulate some of them. I tried to make some characters up on the fly, like the Italian chief. They never had an Italian chief, you know. Some of the characters, like even my assistant had that supporting character. So these are like all these personalities that exist, but I'm just doing my take on it, and researching it was fun. Improvising a little on the spot was also really cool. So it gave this unique result, you know.
And I quite liked it. It kind of reminded me of, if you're familiar with like cyberpunk kind of stuff, they tend to use a lot of Japanese culture to kind of as a backdrop to usually Western kind of storytelling. With yours, it was kind of like you had Bahraini elements to it,
yeah,
which kind of gave me like it gave me that thing. Just swap out Japanese culture for Bahraini culture, which I think is unique. I've never seen that before, because you've got like, I mean, you know, like detectives. I've never seen a detective story in Bahrain. So to see that, and with the Bahraini elements as well, I mean, it's definitely eye-catching. Now, what's been with your friends, family, fans? What's the general feedback been?
You know, I slowly start to just like not really focus on that too much. Yani, some people reach out and say nice things and positive feedback. It mainly has been positive, and I'm very grateful and thankful for that. My mom is kind of 50-50 on it. She's just like, why are you know, painting a bad light? I was like, Mom, it's a comedy, you know? So I don't know if she gets comedy like that, but it's innocent, you know what I mean?
Right.
But other than that, no, all my friends love it. Close family love it. You know, I don't know what the fans really think, but I guess it's been positive, you know? Like, they've been sharing it, they've been liking it, they have been commenting on my stories and, you know, posts and YouTube. But again, like, you know, I'm happy to hear and see these comments, but my focus is always on the next project.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah. Now, clearly that just shows that you like to keep busy, and I mean, another testament to that is that you weren't only playing the lead role. I mean, you had multiple roles in making this, so please elaborate on that.
Okay, well, couldn't have done it without, you know, my right-hand man, my brother, Muayyad al-Muayyad. Not literal brother, but like he grew up with me like a brother, so I would say, yani, he helped me throughout the entire film. We both took turns in filming the scenes. I edited the whole video. I did some color grading and then got some help for color grading. Audio, the script, the direction. Sometimes, you know, I would give creative freedom for the actors to sort of explore the character that they wanted to become. But at the same time, I wanted to bring the most authentic part of that to the screen. So we did a lot of exercises. A few of the characters don't even speak Arabic, and they were trying to learn the whole thing, and not just the words, but also the way that you use our hand gestures in the film, you know? I like that specifically. One of the characters, Mike, was so dedicated. He is already like so fascinated with Bahraini culture. He was literally the reason why I did the storyline the way it is, because he's just such an inspiring personality in his own respect. He's so invested in Bahrain and the music, the culture. So the script was molded towards him, and he was really dedicated in like making it pure, you know. So the hand gestures was a really, really fun scene, if you remember, in the cafe, if you watch the movie.
Yeah, I did, and it's like, kind of like you said, it makes the character feel more authentic. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into a language than just the actual language.
Absolutely.
Bahrainis are very well known,
yeah,
you know, doing it right now.
Very expressive, you know, even with their hands and their...
Even with the dialect,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, the volume makes a difference as well, how they pronounce and say something. It's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of inflection.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
So no, I mean, you ended up with, like I said, a very unique product.
Thank you.
And on that note, like, I mean, you've already kind of touched on this, but I'm sure doing something like this where there are so many moving parts, right, to a project like this. Like you said, you have everything from the characters, the lighting, the shots. You've had to learn how to do color grading. I'm sure you've run into other challenges. So could you give us like an idea of some of the other challenges and how you overcame them?
It's not easy logistically, you know, because everybody has time that they're available and unavailable. There's the venues that you have to call.
I noticed the Jasmines.
I mean, like, a lot of those were like really like spontaneous decisions, because some of them were meant to be, like, I'll give you an example. Like, you know, there was so much Bahraini touches I wanted to have, but coincidentally emergencies happen or mistakes. Like, for example, I go to this Betel donut every year of my life, every week of my life. It's always open, it's always there. The one time I wanted to go shoot, it was closed. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? So we had to improvise. Everybody was there, the actors were there, filmmaking, and the gear, everything was ready, but the venue just was closed. So that was one of the challenges, you know, like you just have to problem solve immediately. You don't have much time. Another problem was I underestimated like the editing process. You know, I edit videos, I do a lot for social media. It's my day job as well, but never at this size. It's a mammoth project. You know, it's people don't understand. This is a 13-minute short film. I have so much respect for these industry professionals that do it longer, like for an hour or so. It was a lot, you know, for myself to do. And yeah, there's always these as well, like camera settings that I didn't know about. You know, I didn't have a stand until like halfway into the film.
Oh wow!
It was all handheld, so I had to like use my own methods of stabilizing the camera. Some of them were intentionally shaky. It kind of had added that, like, you know, that element that I was looking for in some of the scenes. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I was just working with very, very little. The own lights that I had, whatever lights, sometimes flashlights. I had mics that I used for like interviews I used for this film. I had to edit all the audios myself. You know, I had some background in audio, so I could fix whatever I could. Not saying it's the best, you know, but
Audio is tricky.
yeah, it is. Even with the music, you know, you had to find the right music for the right scene.
Right, yeah.
That had its own like research period, like a whole week of just like searching. What do you do for chase scenes? What do you do for this? What for like intense scenes, for sad scenes? So it was a challenge throughout the whole film. It was a big challenge.
But I mean, clearly, I mean, you have a real passion for it because you were willing to go through all of that and still come out with something that, again, is very unique. I haven't seen much of anything come out like it, you know? And
You're very kind.
my mind always goes back. I mean, I laugh about the Jasmine thing, but it's touches like that, or touches like people, you know, speaking the way that Bahrainis do, that makes it feel more grounded in reality. So it's like, yeah, we kind of joke about it because like we're talking about it on a meta level, but like within the story, that's what makes it feel real. You know, you watch a lot of movies, I imagine, or a lot of TV shows where someone doesn't speak a certain language with the right dialect, and you immediately are taken out of it.
To be honest with you, I don't watch TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even movies?
No, I occasionally watch movies. I
Okay.
used to watch movies a lot when I was a lot younger, yani. But TV shows, I don't. I try my best not to. You know, this binging thing.
Yes.
It's not me, man. You know, occasionally when there's a good TV show out, okay, I would watch it. It's not saying I'm against it, but it's just it takes a lot of time, and you know, I would rather do than not. You know?
More of a man of action.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, that idea that you've added all of these authentic touches just means that the audience can stay with the narrative and stay for the music as well. And now, merging film with music raises a very interesting question. Do you think this could be the beginning of a new kind of trend? You've mentioned, for example, like Michael Jackson as a type of inspiration. But do you think that this will become more commonplace within the industry?
I hope it somehow inspires anybody to do something, to be honest. You know, like, I'm taking on this challenge. I've been playing music for 15 years. None of my music has been, you know, wow, or made an impact, you know, or if it did, it probably just did. So, yani, if I didn't stop for 15 years, it gives you an idea that, like, you know, you could do this, you could start now, you could do it and succeed within a week or a day or a month, your first project, your third project. So it was also sort of like, you know, a lot of people that doubted me, that said you can't, that fueled this kind of desire to complete a film and do more films and stuff like that. So a lot of that is, you know, inspired from that. But I don't know if people will make films or be inspired to make films. I don't know if it will be a trend. You can't really predict that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see more musicians doing more original music, more videos. It doesn't have to be films. I just want to see the creative industry here as a whole sort of spark up and become, you know, active again and like aggressively releasing work, you know, because we need it.
Definitely. And again, I think you've shown that as an artist, something that I really respect about you now talking to you is the fact that you, I think it's important because I've spoken to other people in similar industries, and you know, some of them are in positions maybe where it's tied to their livelihood, so they have to make sacrifices for financials and everything, and that is understandable. I completely get that, but it's also nice to be, I think, in a situation where you're just thinking about making it, no matter what it is. And you know, I think that because you've taken that risk, that's what led to the outcome of something so unique. You know, I think a lot of people these days, whether we're talking mainstream or even independent, are afraid to take risks.
Nothing extraordinary is easy.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, like what you said, it's I'm thinking always multi-dimensional careers here, you know? If you really want something to happen from your musical career, your art career, you can find the time if you really want to, you know? It means working weekends, it means working after hours. It's gonna be, you know, sometimes sleepless nights, not always, because it's not gonna be enjoyable, the journey, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you have to kind of put that time and effort to get where you want to get to, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna quit my job and be a musician. It's like, okay, I need something that I can sustain my life, and then at the same time, how can I make my passion the life? It takes time. And I'm not there yet also, by the way. So it helps with my life, you know, sometimes getting paid to perform, sometimes getting paid for the other projects. But until that day comes where I can fully become a musician, it will be one of the happiest days of my life, because I know that I'm not working anymore. I'm doing what I love, yani.
And inshallah, we'll see you get there, and we can welcome you back when you're an even bigger star.
But you have to be with me when I go up.
Okay, inshallah.
And we go up together. We have to always support one another.
Definitely, and I think that that's one of the good things about Bahrain, whether we're talking about the professional or the artistic scene, is that we have a very good socio kind of economic social dynamic. Basically, I think here it's a very positive place to grow, no matter what field you're in. And now, just to conclude, is there anything about your upcoming projects that you want to share with us?
Don't want to share too much.
What are you willing to share?
Well, we're working on this 2 more films in the next coming months. One of them is for a new song that I'm going to be making called More Than You Can Imagine. And the other one is going to be Something Is Changing, a song that I really love a lot. I've worked on it for such a long time. It's about aging. And it's not like any of the things you might assume I would create, you know? It's not comedic at all. I want to explore different moods, different stories. The second one kind of has like a comedic element to it. There is some, you know, shock factors. The aging one is really, really like sad and beautiful at the same time, you know? Something I hold dear to my heart. It's the subject of aging and the identity and memory, all that stuff, you know?
Wonderful, very contrasting themes.
Yeah, why should I do the same thing all the time? I just want to explore as much as I can while I'm still here, you know?
Inshallah, it'll be for a very long time and enough for you to make a lot more variety.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to see what you cook up next. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're very welcome. Thanks again. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more here on Bahrain Now. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at what's going on beyond the studio in the following report.
In celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Bahraini-German Friendship Society, Dima Al-Haddad, President of the Bahraini-German Friendship Society, and His Excellency Clemens Hatt, German Ambassador to the Kingdom of Bahrain, hosted a reception and musical concert by the German band Pianotainment.
So we're celebrating tonight the 25th anniversary of the creation of the Bahraini-German Friendship Society, which at the same time is sort of a relaunch of the society, because in the COVID years it went a little bit down. So with the great support of mainly Dima Al-Haddad, who is the president of the association, and the Ministry of Social Affairs, we've been able to relaunch the society. So tonight is the first big event that we're doing here, hosted by Dima Al-Haddad in the Mercedes showroom. So a very good opportunity to showcase what Germany is about and what our friendship is about. We are bringing German culture. We have a piano duo that will perform tomorrow night at the Cultural Hall. So they will give us a sneak preview tonight. And yeah, it's really about celebrating our friendship between our people, and celebrating that in the coming years we have this great association to work with as an embassy to increase the ties between our two countries and our two people.
The event brought together esteemed guests for a night of cultural exchange, music, and camaraderie.
We're having this event to celebrate 25 years of the Bahraini-German Friendship Society and to honor the founding members. And we have the lovely pianists from Germany, all the way from Germany. And inshallah, we're going to have an amazing night tonight. And we look forward to attract more members to the society.
The Kingdom of Bahrain and Germany share deep-rooted relations with cooperation in various fields and sectors. Under the patronage of Sheikha Marwa bint Rashid Al Khalifa, President of Bahrain Society for Fine Arts, and in celebration of 10 years of Wild About Art Studio, artist Sana Asad hosted an exhibition to showcase her students' creations and talents through art.
I mostly do at like one color. I'm a pyrography artist, so I usually go for realism and organic objects, something to do with nature, animals, that kind of stuff. Honestly, what motivates me in art is just seeing the world, like seeing nature, alhamdulillah, and like watching people's creations and other people's arts as well, like Miss Sana's and some other pyrography artists as well.
The students were professionally trained at Wild About Art Studio through a series of long-term monthly classes that developed their artistic skills.
I'm one of Miss Sana's first students. My main theme is architecture and I sketch a lot. My main inspirations are massive cathedrals and churches. What inspires me to do this artwork is just that the continuity of my work and the reward of seeing such detail in artworks that not many people are doing. If you look around, not many artists sketch comparatively to painting. So me sketching just feels like a really nice change in pace compared to looking everywhere and just seeing paintings. So that's where my inspiration comes from.
Featuring 35 young artists aged 3 to 18, the exhibition uplifted Bahrain's youth and brought the community together.
I'm 9.5 years old. I started art class when I was 6. The things that usually make me happy are when my friends are around me, and when I go to art class, I enjoy drawing. My favorite color is yellow, and I like doing charcoal drawings of movie characters.
The young artists created masterpieces using various mediums and techniques that reflect their unique passions and talents.
My name is Mariam, and I've been doing art since I was 8 years old. I'm now 14 years old, and my main interest is fiber arts. I use punch needle, I do crochet, and I also do acrylic painting. My future plans are to finish school and hopefully go to a university in the UK and hopefully become an interior designer.
From pyrography and coffee painting to realistic chalk pastel creations and colorful abstract art. The exhibition was a great way to motivate Bahrain's youth and inspire them to achieve more and more.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this episode. We thank you so much for watching. And as always, be sure to reach out to us on our social media accounts shown below. We love to hear from you. This was Khalid Hijris. Until next time, good night and God bless.